right, we've got some Seattle Seahawks news for you guys. Of course, new head coach Mike Macdonald is into the fray right now, leading the Seattle team into the future. And of course, a big step for Macdonald is filling out the rest of his coaching staff. And we got some exciting news on that front. Let's go directly into this report, and then we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is from ESPN. The Seattle Seahawks are expected to hire Jay Harbaugh as their special teams coordinator under head coach Mike Macdonald. A source confirmed to ESPN on Monday. Harbaugh, 34, served in that role for the past 5 seasons at the University of Michigan under his father, Jim Harbaugh. A report from the Ann Arbor News last week stated that the younger Harbaugh was set to follow his father to Los Angeles to coach under the Charger staff, but he will instead reunite with Macdonald in Seattle. Macdonald and Jay Harbaugh coached together for 2 seasons, first on the Baltimore Ravens staff in 2014, and then at U of M in 2021 when Macdonald was the Wolverines defensive coordinator. All right, Miles, I know you got some insights on this hire and what it could mean for the Seahawks going forward. But first, Seahawks fans, look, it's been a heck of a couple weeks as you're gearing up, filling out your coaching staff. There are also a lot of holes when it comes to the players on this roster right now. So in the comment section below, give us the one position group you think the Seahawks should focus on addressing once free agency kicks off. Give us that position group in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this hire as Jay Harbaugh being the guy to lead the Seahawks special teams?
Yeah, Nick, I think that Harbaugh is an excellent decision. I think there's a lot of stuff that you can read into this. First of all, the decision that he was able to leave his potentially going to his father's staff in Los Angeles and decides to follow Mike McDonald, another close guy he worked at many years in Baltimore and Michigan. I think that speaks a lot here. Can't read into it too much, but the fact that he was able to go away from his dad, say, hey, I want to go work with Mike McDonald in Seattle, I think that speaks a lot about McDonald's. So Seahawks fans, you got to feel good about that. But I think Jay Harbaugh is a very interesting special teams coordinator here, and there's two reasons specifically as why I think he's going to be very good for this team. One, his time in Baltimore, he spent under his uncle John Harbaugh, who's an excellent special teams coach. He's been known for his special teams coaching. The Ravens have been known for their special teams ever since he has joined that organization. So I think he has gotten the best tutelage under Uncle John Harbaugh in that aspect. And how do we know that? Well, we go back to last season at Michigan. Michigan had probably the best punter and best kicker in program history in 2022 in Jake Moody and Brad Robbins. What happens in 2023? They both leave Michigan, whether they graduated or moved on to the NFL, and he had to go ahead and get an entire new special teams operation going on the punting and kicking aspect. What happens? Michigan is able to go and win a national championship. They're still able to run their special teams at an extremely high level after moving off. It would have been the equivalent for the Ravens moving off of Justin Tucker and being able to replace him with a kicker that is just as good or, in the grand scheme of things, get them to where they want to be. So I think that was very impressive by Jay Harbaugh as well. And I think this is a really great hire for Seattle, a team that I think in the past with Hauschka was really great on special teams. They kind of waned a little bit. Their punter's very good right now. Kicker, maybe not all the way there yet. But I think overall, this is going to be a big time boost for the Seahawks going forward.
I think it's one of the things we've noticed if we look at the Seattle Seahawks, their offseason moves, and we talked about it in our other earlier Seahawks video from a few days ago. This team right now, when it comes to the coaching staff, is being built to defeat the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Right? We talked about with McDonald hire, his background, his defenses are known for giving the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay tree all kind of fits. That's why Mike McDonald's brought into the fold as opposed to a Dan Quinn who cannot handle those offenses. Another way to beat both the Rams and the 49ers, and we've seen it in big moments, is you guessed it, special teams. These are two areas where the Rams, for a number of years now, have been really bad on special teams. And the 49ers, I mean, they had a good kicker for a long time. That was okay. But in terms of their punt return, kick return, punt coverage, kick coverage, they're average to below average traditionally year in and year out. It's not something they emphasize. The Rams are the same way or have been the same way the past few seasons. That's a weakness for both those teams, which creates an opportunity for the Seattle Seahawks to make it a strength. So bringing in a guy like Jay Harbaugh to address the special teams, I think is important to really emphasize that side of the ball. But there's one other aspect to this I really like. Mike McDonald being a young coach. Anytime you're a young guy, especially the youngest coach in football, you need to make sure you're surrounded with people who will trust and follow you, whether it's the players or the coaches. You don't want to bring in a lot of big ego former coaches, really, guys who have been around football, the NFL game, 30, 40 years set in their ways, right? Right now, the Seattle Seahawks, I love it. It's the state of Washington. It's Microsoft in the 1980s, right? You're a young startup. You're changing the way you're doing everything. You're rethinking how you're going to be a Seahawks football team going forward. You don't want to be if you were Bill Gates in the 1980s, do you think they'd hire the top executives of IBM to come over and help them out? No, that would defeat the message. That's what Mike Macdonald's doing here. He's bringing in other young guns. Guys are coming in to change the direction of the Seattle Seahawks, change the direction of the NFC West, kind of upset the apple cart a little bit. And that's exactly what you're going to need to overcome the San Francisco 49ers and to overcome the Los Angeles Rams.